And I'm here with one of our very trusted senior level trader too and partner, Mike Ficca.
Good evening, everybody. Great to be
So
here.
Mike, it's been I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, and I want to thank you for being here tonight. How we've been some time, and you've been a part of this company for what, 6 months now? Has it been?
August.
6 months. August. So what's that? 6 months. Yeah, close to 6 months, right? You'll be coming into your 6 months here. Right. Okay, so February 6th, 6 months. Yay for us. So in your time, you've watched us build a lot, right? It's like you watch us invent TV and cars and things like that, and space flight and stuff.
It really is a transformation. It really is.
When you first started, we had the dailies, we had intradays. We had the 20-minute room. You started with Thor in there for a little bit, working in the 20-minute room, getting a pace for things. Your mentality.
Max signals back then.
We had max signals as well. So we had a third room where there were supposed to be managed rooms. And again, we've tried a lot of stuff, folks. Okay. Some of you that are brand new. Is anybody here new? You type in the word new inside the chat room box down here, just to kind of let us know. And so we can. Well, Francisco, you're new, but I mean that you haven't paid yet. You haven't paid to be into the system just yet. Ishmael Crump is new. I see you here a couple of times, and I appreciate you being here. The system itself has survived and has worked so well because we knew from the beginning, as a company, on who we are as basically our network, is that data was king, and it's very difficult to have an argument against the data, because the data proves what works and what doesn't work. And we're going to talk about some of that tonight. Tonight is going to be one part mini sale, but we're also going to be talking. I want to talk a little bit about the company for anybody who's brand new. Anybody here? Does anybody here not know our story? Let me ask that. If you're just starting out, if you don't know our story, just say no in the room. If you don't know our story, where we come from, what we're doing. If you need me to give you a brief upgrade of what that is, then okay, Lisa Brock, welcome, and thank you very much.
Hello.
Before we do get started, Ismail knows a little bit, but I'm going to explain more. The act of what we do is about education, and it's about helping you become a better trader, and mentally, physically, technically, everything. We pride ourselves on taking the complicated and making it simple. But one thing that is not simple is risk. And the disclaimer that we have to put in front of you is because legality has us do this because whatever reason it might be, but common sense tells us that we're going to do our best to help you become a proficient, knowledgeable trainer or trader. And in this process, it is about education, it's about trade assistance, but anything can happen. All right, let's be honest. Let's be honest that, I could do well, but you don't. You could do better than or I could do better than Mike, or what have you. So all results may vary. The circumstances here that we've created this company with has been that risk is from the market and market alone. Risk should never be from, can you trust us? And that's one thing I can guarantee that we work very hard with, is to be very transparent, honest, and upfront, and in helping. We want you to be successful. So that's my long-winded version of the earnings and risk disclaimer. The big question is, who are we? And Lisa and Ismail, we are a company of traders. We opened up Our City Investments LLC in June of 2014. 2015. And when we opened up this company, it was off of the rebound of being ripped off for about $115,000 from this industry. And I was fighting mad. So was Amy Kuiper. So was Brian Farrow. We just came off of a huge marketing network of people, 2,700 plus, 350 something radio stations, thousands of web pages and Facebook pages, and all this great stuff. Because when we got ripped off, it hurt our main company so bad that we started to fail. In order to get even with the industry, we said we're going to go after them. We're going to make things. We're going to build things. We're going to gather an army, and we're going to go after these people. And we started. And unfortunately, you know how revenge kind of is it just absorbs everything. Or they tell you to build two, dig two graves kind of thing. That's basically what happened in the beginning. We had to find ourselves, and we did. We slowly began to find ourselves. We built the first version of Dex Signals, which was a very quick and fast website to put things together. And we made mistakes in the very beginning. We had $7 trials and free stuff, and these gimmicky little sales pitches and affiliations and all these things that we tried. But one thing we found out very quickly within our first year of business is that you have to concentrate on the individual, the customer, the person who's paying the bill. And slowly but surely, we began to build that relationship with things that this industry has never seen before. Consults for every person that comes on board. Phone calls that you can call the company and talk to the owner or talk to another senior level trader. Chat rooms, trader rooms, training that was easy and easy on the ears. Things that took the complicated and made simple. So that's who we are. We are a group of individuals that are just like you, trying to do better, to work from home, to make ourselves into a business so we can better live our lives the way that we want, the way that we see our success. Our mission statement says it all. It is really about us helping you find your idea of success. Not my idea, not Mike's, not anybody else's, but your own. And so whatever your idea of success is, that's what we're going to try to help you get to. Now, of course, along the way, you might have some skewed idea of success. What tomorrow will bring you will not be $1 million or a home in the Valdez, but who knows what can happen in the future? We can build to that. Anything can be built to. We just need to put the time in. The next question to ask is not just who we are, but what type of trader you are. And of course, we built 3 major titans of a system here. When we first built Dex Signals, it was all about just creating a signal base for people. And this signal base for people was really about, we had to create some very unique indicators. And as I was training people kept on asking me, well, what kind of indicator are you using for this? So we decided that we would build Dex indicators. And Dex indicators became very powerful very quickly. This took about 1.5 years to build. And in 1.5 months, this was already the size of this. And that was huge because it didn't take very long for the popularity of Dex indicators to take off. We then started to get some people that were kind of floating right in between both, that wanted a little bit more technical, but not as much in some cases of downloading software. So the first thing we had to do was figure out what could we build that would make it easier for everybody. So we built a system called Dex Trader. And Dex Trader is about web-based charts, a data processing center for the signals, and of course, our ever-loving Dex Signals, which is right here. Okay, so we applied Dex Signals to the Dex Trader process and some indication systems on board that we created with our Dex data charts, and that we'll have even more coming on here very soon. And when we built this process like this, and we didn't realize this at first, we just wanted to kind of keep everything separate because, there's a lot of things going on in our industry and we don't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. But what we found is that each one of these programs fits you in your education, whether in the very beginning fits you because of your experience or along the way. Some people like to start out at Dex Signals and then begins to learn in such a fashion that they want to know a little bit more, so they travel over to Dex Indicators for a little bit. And if you're like Mike, that's what happened to him. He went to Dex Indicators, learned everything about learning how to trade in the systems, and then went up to Dex Trader and has been trading with the systems there. Is there no sound, Mike?
Yes.
There is no
I hear you
sound?
perfectly.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You went out for a couple seconds.
Uh-oh.
Real quick, probably an internet glitch.
Oh no, internet glitch. Sounds good. Okay, everybody can hear me. All right.
Yep.
So basically that's what Mike did, and do like Mike does, right? But he started out in Dex. Now we have some people who started out in Dex Indicators, learned about the indicators, learned about the process, found out that software sucks, and I just want to go up to Dex Trader and do that. And that's what some of them did. And of course, some people just like to stay at Dex Signals. So where do you start? Well, first place you can start is Dex Signals. If you want information, go here. You can get here. This is absolutely free to join to get the training. Then once you're ready for the signals, you can pay, and then we'll apply the signals to you. All right. So that's basically us in a nutshell. We started this company with this mentality that gathering information as we go. And why were we able to build 3 companies in less than a year? We were able to put 3 in because listen, we built Dex Signals. It took about a year and a half to get to where we're at right now. But in March of last year, we revamped Dex Signals. So from March of last year to what was it, November, December of last year, we built 3 mega companies: Dex Signals, Dex Indicators, and Dex Trader. How were we able to do that in such a short period of time? We weren't made of money, right? You're not paying an extreme amount of money for your systems here, but we were able to really hone in all of our processes and learn from the mistakes we made and learn from the system itself, you know, and begins to really, I guess, hone our skills and craft of drawing people to the company to let them know what we were doing. But the one thing that really began to get us to the next level, huge level, okay, was data. And finding out the data. When we created our daily signals, the daily signals are in a huge range, right? 40 to 60 pip range. And we found that we needed to be able to better do that process, right? We needed to know more information about, why was it such a wide range? Of course, because of the time emergence system and all that stuff. But we began to apply some very special indicators to the dailies. And then we learned about the intraday system and being able to build that and use that algorithm using a trend reverse pattern. So then we had the intraday system in there. And intraday became a very powerful solution in there as well. But we had a problem. You had to avoid the news. So we built NA intraday. And NA intraday means news avoidance intraday, right? Now this looks like a Swedish word. Nanook, that's what it looks like, nanint. But the idea of the news avoidance system was still needing a little bit of a sharp stick, because we needed to kind of figure out what was the best exit strategy once we got into this. And again, it all transpired from the daily signal and what we were doing here. Because as soon as we started to see how the data, I was able to apply other indicators to it to create other portions of the system, sharpening the modules here to make sure that we get a better winning ratio. And I want to show you something. Let me get over here, get up to Dex Trader. And if you can't see let me get over to the signals here. If you can't see this right here on the SR Max, just right click and do reload frame, and that should bring it on for you. Now this went on today. Now if I click on SR Max right now, there's only one signal that we've done. I had it come on and I stopped it after a few moments, because we have a system to where it sends me a notice and then I approve the signal to go through, because I needed to have it in this fashion for a little bit until about Friday, so I can approve all the signals as they come over, so I can make sure the machine's working good, because now we have a tremendous amount of people in this network. And if one person kind of goes in there and blows live money or does a mistake, or sees a signal in there and tries to take it and all that stuff, I want to make sure that we're protecting them as well. Okay, so any stuff that's going in is we're trying to make it of the highest value possible, right? So when I put this out there today, and we built this process in there for it to be able to do this delivery system in here, it became super real for me that the information that we were getting was very powerful. And we knew that in order for us to find an opportunity to find out when does this trade go bad, and because of the data that we were getting from the original network, what was happening was that the market was kind of coming into the process, and we had some indicators. We had some special indicators on, right? And so when our system was telling us, hey, this is going to be a buy, our indicator that we found that worked for us, there was a process called the MACD. Now the MACD has two lines on it, and one of them, when it crosses the other, was giving us a signal saying, hey, look, when this confirms, this buy is going to turn into a sell, And so if you have a strike period, or I'm sorry, I'm drawing at an angle because my pad's at an angle. Go figure. I got to turn my hand. But if you got a signal right about there, this is going to fail. So you might want to get out at that point. And this is what the data was telling us, right? It wasn't what I was looking at and going and looking at this. It was what the data was telling us, is that, hey, look at this process, because when it fails every time that there's a crossover, right? So what we went and did, we started to confirm this. So we got something like, I think it was like a 95 or 96% success rate when we were able to get in and out of trades easily enough. But we have not lost, and I'll show you this here in a second. I didn't put it on my screen prior to, but we have not lost a trade yet when we apply all the rules to the process. This is what Mike and I have been testing out, right? We have not lost a.
Max, you went out.
I went out where? Yeah, I know.
Okay.
There you go. Let's see.
I mean, you sound wise.
Oh, sound wise, I'm out again.
You're back.
Am I back? Okay. Yep.
So
this is the SR Max right here. And this is what we started back on the 25th of January. And when we were using the process correctly, we were following all the rules. This is the results that we were doing. Now, in this one here, I didn't make a mistake, but there's like 3 trades in here, and I didn't count it on. So add 2 more trades onto the process here, because you see this was one winning giant trade packet, but it was really 3 different trades altogether. Okay. Even though that it was 3, like this one was 3 right here. So I counted as 1, but then I missed this one here. See, so there's an extra added one that's in there that was an actually separate trade. Pretty funny. So when we got down to here on this USD JPY, what was happening was that the MACD that we use for the exit strategy. Now, we use several different indicators and some time emergent processes, some other things, some special sauce, lettuce, please, stuff on inside the signal itself. But what we found was that there was only one indicator, and I'm not afraid to tell you what it is. It's the MACD, of course, that was giving us the one signal, the one mark that was telling us in the opposite direction. When that happened, it had a rate of failure. It was telling us the success rate of where it was going, and when that happened, it would save our asses. Now, you may think losing $27 isn't saving your ass, but when you compare it to losing 75, it is. So if I had 10 contracts on here, I may have lost 270, but I saved myself from losing 750. That's a saving of about $500. In this case, about $50 here, 49 something bucks. Okay, so, and in some cases, like Mike was doing earlier and showing me in some stuff that he was doing, he was actually still making like a little bit of money when it was failing. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was like $3.
Okay. So I treated this as like because we won't count a scalp as a win or a loss. Whether you win, you are in the positive for money or you're in the negative for money. So we're created as a scalp. Okay, so far we did 21, 22, 23, 24, 29, 30, 31. There was 32 with the one that was up there, and I did a couple of more. There was like 3 more that I haven't put on here. So we're sitting right around 34 and 0 still with one scalp. Does anybody know how big that is? Is audio gone again?
No, huge. Huge.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know why the audio keeps going. It's very unusual.
Fine. Didn't go out.
Okay. It is huge. Let me see here. What was that? All right. Sound is good. It went out again earlier. Okay. I'm going to apologize for any sound issues. Really super fast computer, very bad internet for the last couple of days for some reason. Comcast at the house has been terrible. So I'm probably losing packets as I'm going out there. So this process itself is a very large moneymaker for all of us. I mean, all of us. Now, with that, what's that?
Brad Beckham.
Brad Beckham, right? Mike Beckham. But it's very important for all of you to know that we were only able to get that. Okay. How many customers in here? How many? There's 46 people in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many new people are here? I know that I asked this earlier and only 2 came out. How many people that are here that have not paid yet to be a part of the company? How many people in the room? Just type in new. Don't be embarrassed. Please don't be embarrassed. Jimi Hendrix. I don't know who Jimi Hendrix is, but I hope that's your real name. Come back from the dead. Dave Clausen, new. Welcome. Thank you very much.
Dave,
Lisa Brock, new, of course. Welcome, Lisa Brock. Thank you.
Is there really a Jimi Hendrix? Oh,
Yeah, there is. Rudy is new. Welcome. Thank you. Last night we had about 65 people. We had about 5, 6 people that were new. The rest were customers and investors. If you're paying to be a part of this company, we consider you an investor. And somebody who's really here to make something for this business, you're an investor. So we have, I'd say, roughly around 20. Brian was telling me that I made a statement last night we had about 2,300. We do, but there's like, it's weird that in Dex Signals is over 21. There's like Dex Signals, Dex Indicators. There's a lot of free people in those processes. And then I didn't, I was counting on Dex Trader and everything else with the free people and the other systems we had. So we really do have well over 2,000, 2,100, 2,200 people in this network. We will have over 200 something people paying in the network for all the different sites that we have. And so this is very, very powerful for all of you to know that those people that are in there paying and taking a part. And listen, we still have a very large amount we have about 50 or 60 senior traders or 40 or 50 senior traders that have the name senior with them, but some of them don't come to the website as much as anymore because they're just in there trading. And I understand that, but we have a large amount of people that are here every day doing their part. And for those that are investors into this company that have made this possible, I do what I do because of, and I hate to make that sound like Dr. Seuss, I do what I do because of all of you, okay? Because when I first started talking to people and really sitting down and doing consults and meeting with people, I ask you all the same thing. What do you want? Is this something that you're just looking to do part-time, make some supplemental income, or is this something you really want to do? And those people that get in the dirt and say, this is what I really want to do, man, I will, whatever we need to do to make it work for you, whatever. I mean, phone calls, screen shares, trading rooms, conversation after conversation, whatever it will take to get you to that point, if it's available, if you can do it. And for some people just, they may not be able to cut it, and that's okay. But I do what I do because of all of you. Mike started to step up and be more part of the company and more things happening. And within 4 months, 5 months, look where he's at right now. He's a full-fledged partner of the company, and look at the work he's done. I helped him, and he's been helping others. And as an owner of a company, how proud am I of Mike Ficca and all the other people that are in the room that have elite and senior by their name, people that have taken responsibility for what they're doing and have just been pouring their heart and soul into this company. So if you wrote the word new by your name down there, and that's something that sounds like you want to be a part of, then go buy into the site. If it's something about money, or if it's whatever it is, contact Amy, contact us, find out what we can do, get the $50 off coupon, whatever you need to do to get on board and start your travel now. If it is just about trying to figure out if this is something I really want, book a consult with us, sit down, send us an email, call the company. There's a phone number on the site, whatever, okay? If I can pick up, I'll pick up. If I can't, I'll try to call you back.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But the real part of this company, the real success of this company doesn't come from some 40-something-year-old guy who's trying to get even with a network and an industry. It's not about me anymore. It's about all of us together. And imagine what we can build as a company when all of us work together. All right, so I want to show you something here too that came from the data. Now, so there's a handful of you that are new, and that means there's about 5 that are new, 5 or 6 that are new. So there's about 40 people in here that are using the signals and using the process right now, including myself. And I started to allude to this before the webinar tonight, but I want to show you something else. And this is going to be brought to you. I'm going to cut this part of the video out and put it out so everybody can see it. But I'm going to show you something that's happening even on the NA intraday, the news avoidance and intraday. Intraday here and intraday here are one and the same signals, except that this avoids and only publishes signals that are news free. Okay, so I want you to remember that. But there's also an opportunity that these signals can still lose, right? And we know that there's a risk to everything that we do. But I want to show you something here that right now, if you just take the signals, let's just say you just took every single one of these signals, what would your success rate be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? 16 and 2. That may not seem like a really good success rate, right, of 88.8%. But I can tell you right now, after validating what we just done, remember what I was saying in the beginning, that the SR max takes a lot to get into, but there's only one thing that happens for when it fails, and it gives us a pre-knowledge of that failure by a crossover of the blue to the orange line in the direction. Like if this was for a buy, if we had said that we were coming in for a buy and it turned to a sell, this would be the predetermined marker of that crossover, the event crossover on this with a 12-26-9 MACD, something that's right out of the box. I don't even have to change any of the parameters right from this own system in here. This tells us that when that program fails, absolutely. See, it's the same thing right out of the box. I didn't change anything to it. So if that's true, I've just learned how to validate all of these signals. It saved me if this one was going to go wrong and we had a crossover, then I could get out safely, at least with some small loss or maybe even small profit. So then we applied it to something. I applied it to the NA intraday signals. And at first started to see something as I started to go down, and I said, well, let me see what happens when I look at a loser, right? When I look at the Euro British Gold Pound, why did it lose? And I went back and I looked at the system and I looked at, because these intraday signals happen on what we call a trend reverse pattern, okay? And the trend reverse pattern is real simple. It just involves that we all know that a trend is usually 3 or more bars that head in a direction, right? And so if we have an up pattern here of 3 bars, and then we get a sell bar, okay, I can't make it a different color. I could make it a different color, but probably take too long. And the machine starts to, and the system starts to recognize this as a pattern of falling, it's going to call for a reverse, all right? And then what it's going to do is going to add some other algorithm in there too, that's going to give us a price to be under, right? But what happens sometimes, if this was an uptrend, right, this entire time, and this starts to happen, and then all of a sudden it starts to go, or there was some news event or something happened, or just like a wild hair Trump tweet or whatever, right, whatever that is, and it began to go over, right? So we knew that this trend reverse, if and when it was, if this was going to happen, you could still win this trade. But if it was going to fail, what was the mark that made it fail? You know, what would tell us that, hey, look, this is really going to go it's going to keep going and it's going to break our number here, right? So what I found out using that MACD process was when the MACD, okay, you would have the one line here that was orange. Hang on one second. It would kind of look like this. It would be going down like this, and then you'd have a blue line that was coming over, and then you get a crossover, right? Or something like, right? So we thought it was going down, or you would have it to where the crossover was coming up, right? So both of these lines were going down. up over that line and then continue this process over. And this would give us a warning. But what we also noticed was that when the sell signal came out right here, the MACD was usually pushing like this, right? And when this happened, you know, our system was telling us it was a sell and it was actually a buy. We call this little part divergence, right? But when the MACD was facing up in the same direction as our trend reverse was calling it, you know, so this divergence like that, if we were calling for a buy, okay, when the signals came out and they were calling for a buy at this level, okay, and the MACD was facing up, this was a very high rate of success. And I'm even afraid to tell you what that rate of success is.
Tell us.
I haven't found it losing yet. I hate to say that. I don't want to say 100%. I'm scared of 100%. I'm scared of 100% because somebody's going to come and tell me that, hey, Max, you died and you went to heaven and you found 100%. I don't want to say that. Okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, just for safety, between 90% and 95% that I can see. I found a couple back testing ones from a while ago, but I had not found a losing trade avoiding news because I couldn't say if that was news or some crazy wild hair or whatever it was. But I found a couple in back testing that allowed it to lose within this fashion when this was facing that direction. But I've went through thousands of trades, thousands of signals with this process. All right. So here's where we're at. Every single one of these trades that came over had a positive position within direction of the MACD, okay? And the losers had divergence. So if the green was convergent and the blue was divergent, you would simply avoid, if the signal comes out, let's look at it right now, right? Let's look at this right now. 1915 on the Euro USD. Euro USD, and what do we call that? That was a sell, right? There's a sell, and look at this profit, 1915, which is right around. Come on, was it 1915? Here it is, right here. Is this convergent or divergent of the sell? Can anybody tell me in the room? Was that in the same direction as the signal? It was convergent, right? And what did we say about that? If it was convergent, if the signal was for a sell and the MACD was for a buy, that would be divergent, right? And that would mean to get the hell away from it, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you realize that the MACD stands for moving average convergence divergence, right? That's what the MACD stands for. Okay. So when it's all in the same direction, this is a plus and this is a negative, right? You guys got that? It's pretty wild, right? Now, now I just want you to know, how powerful is that for somebody? With somebody who if you're trading the signals, you're trying to trust a signal, right? Does this not become second party confirmation? Remember, because first party confirmation, second party confirmation, result oriented, can't be faked. Okay. You don't see these numbers change after they come out, right? You ever notice that? You ever see that? No. Why do we put them all out there? Just for everybody to see, you know, for all of our paid members, of course. Nobody other than that can do this. You can copy and paste this and come back and check it 1,000,001 times. I've only ever changed the database 3 times in the history of the dailies. 3 times. One, because we had a bug that made all of the prices drop down one on the daily a long time ago. And then just recently, it happened 2 days in a row. And I had to go back and fix it and readjust them all back upwards one. But that's the only 3 times in the history of all the signals that I've ever adjusted the database. Because I want the winners and losers in here. I want to show what works and doesn't work. Do you not think that I would love to to make something like this kind of go away. Be like, what the hell? Look at all that loss. But this was news base. And you see what happens when we divert the news. Oop, wrong one. When you divert the news. And by the way, even this one right here was actually a winner on Nadex because we were only 1.3 away, and it actually closed out at 1.8 above. And I think it was like 0694 on Nadex or something like that. I'll have to check that for sure. That's what I was talking to the other trader on today, Mike.
Okay.
But you see where I'm going with this? Yeah. This one was a loser in there, but it was predicted by, of course, if you would have checked it at the beginning of the trade, you would have seen that it was in the opposite direction, which would have been divergent, and avoid the trade. And I know there's some of you that are going to look at this and go, all right, well, if I get into the Euro British Gold, if I look at the Euro British Gold pound and at 1415 to 1500 with a strike at or they expired at 1500 with a strike at 85.85 and it's divergent, what could I do? If it's saying for, what was that, for a sell and it's up for a buy, where's that at? That's right here, right? And then here's 1500 right here, right? All the way up here. Couldn't I then theoretically just say, come to the lowest part here and put in a ticket for something close to here and let it do the opposite, since it's not going to be coming down any further, it's going to be going up? Couldn't I do something like that? And the answer is, yeah, you could, but you better practice the hell out of it. You better prove it a dozen times over before you ever think about using it with real money or on your real demo, right?
That's another hat.
Oh, Brad Beckham, do you like transparency? Yeah, this is the transparency. This is what we stand behind. Okay.
Tell Brad what you wanted to make the signal, the convergence signal for the
Brad Beckham. Too funny. Now, Dr. Brian Bonner got, because he's a senior level trader here and he's a trusted member of this company. We had a call today and we talked a lot about stuff today. And in anything, there's always a process of learning, right? And when you got a lot of moving parts and you have a lot of things that you're used to going wrong, you sometimes you just, you get some movement about it and you question whether or not, hey, did I do the right thing? Did I not do the right thing, or what have you? What you're going to have to do now, folks, if you're trading with us, if you're trading within the network, if you're trading this system, you're going to test this out now. You're going to leave here. You're going to avoid news. Now, it's going to be tough this week to avoid a lot of news, okay? Yeah. But you're going to leave here tonight, and you're going to, if you go to the website itself, you don't even have to load any MetaTrader 4s or anything else. If you're on Dex Signals, the only difference between this and Dex Signals is that you're going to see some ads up here. Sorry, but you're not paying as much as for Dex Trader. But on Dex Trader, there's no ads. But you're going to come in here, and if you go and you refresh your cookies, you'll see the MACDs on all of these. If you don't see the MACD on all of them, then go ahead down and place the MACD on them for now until your computer refreshes its cookies. Because we have this system that we use called caching that saves space from because we get a lot of visitors coming to the site. Okay, so just go ahead and remove the stochastic that's on there and put the MACD, and then each signal that comes out, test it, try it out, see how well it works, see how well if it's facing going up and it's a buy, then it's a good signal to be on. If it's not, if it's in the opposite direction, then it's not a good signal to get on. Stay out of it. If you're going to practice the advanced trading of putting a lower strike down below something that's already, use like a high-low kind of method here for that process. If you're going to do a reversal, kind of pick something that's out of the way and something that you could get into. But remember, if you're choking down or moving that around or doing anything, it's another risk value. All right, but keep that in mind. But just trade it out regular. See what happens. See what happens when you just trade the NA intraday, or even the intradays without news or what have you. Okay. Pretty damn powerful, I gotta say. I mean, I keep using that word powerful, and I hate to try to find another adjective that better suit this process, but damn, look how we have just built on to the data that we have had, and look where we've come from. Look where you have started from. A knowledge base of what information did you come with us with. I was speaking to somebody here just recently, and they touted the fact that they knew a lot about the industry. And sometimes the smartest people that feel like they know a lot don't know anything, because there's too much in there. You're inundated with just bullshit, just stuff that's been thrown at you over and over and over again. Learn this level, learn that level, learn about deviations. The more complicated, the more rules, the more confirmation that you have. But look at this system that we've created. A chart, a signal, and one indicator. That's it. There's even a case to say that you could trade, there's some people that are very good at trading price action, and that word's being way overused lately, but there is a lot of price action traders that are starting to kind of get a feel, but you got to have like a real good macro look, right? And the concept really comes around to simplicity. And then, of course, the biggest word of it all is what? What is the biggest word that will create your success in a heartbeat? Part of the algorithm. We talk about this every night. Anybody? Okay. Your consistency, okay, your consistency plus your volume. This is what's going to create your success, because this idea is something that's very strong for you. Okay, the concept of your goal, not my goal, your goal, will only get you there if you focus everything you got to get this. Now, I just given you a tool. I just given you a tool that's on board of a site. Now, is this always out there? Are there MACD strategies? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's out there. Somebody's like, well, trade on every crossover and do that. No, you know what? You're going to lose your ass. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to get things like this. It's going to come in. It's going to go down. You're going to I got it down. Yeah. And it's going, and you're going to lose all your money. And you're going to get this up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, crossover, 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 and then it's going to go crossover, nicely done, nice, and then crossover, 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 and you're going to get screwed, right? There's no consistent, and anybody who takes a snapshot of one trade to show you is an idiot, and I'm saying that, and I'm not telling you just to take my word for it here by one or two snapshots, but I can show you every single one. I can go through in every trade, but if you want to be here for 3 hours, that's completely up to you. So what I'm suggesting is, even though you trust me, even though you trust our methods and what we do, is to get in there and train with it. Be demo. Make that happen. Find the work. Make it happen. It's the only thing that's going to prove it to you. And let me tell you how sweet that is. How sweet it is, because I have done the work to get to where we're at right now. Mike has done the work to help prove this system to do things like this. Do you think this is just some made up thing that I was able to convince Mike to fake all of this stuff, right? Okay. Well, then I also convinced Chi to fake it all with 5-minute trades. And I convinced 50, maybe 100 other people with their journals on our system to fake it all and put it all in there. Just not possible. This process now is taking on a mind of its own, and it can only be finished out by more and more people using it. So get in there and use it. I want to make a very special video to show you guys how to use that system very effectively. It's already in there. You're already seeing some of it right now. Just go to the website, add the MACD, and if it's in the same direction as a signal, it's a good signal to be on. Demo it out and give it a shot, and tell me what your success rate is. Scream it from the rooftops. Go outside your door, take a big, deep breath of cold or warm air wherever you're at, or rainy, or you live in Iraq, it doesn't matter, and thank yourself. Because I can only show you it. You're going to have to make it happen from this point on. Okay? I'm going to talk about this tonight, and this will be one of the last nights. Tonight's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, there's a cookie, and I'll talk to you in a minute, Chris and Chi, about that here in a second. There is a price increase coming for Dex Trader and Dex Signals, but it does not affect anybody in this room unless you have not bought in. If you have not bought in, you have until Friday. We're not telling you this as a gimmick, okay? I'm telling you this as a fair warning. I started on Monday to let people know we have to do this because the stuff that we just made now with the SR Max and a handful of other things that we're making and the chart system and all the other things that we're releasing for Dex Trader, okay? The Dex Trader system is going to have web-based charts with indicators on them here by the end of middle of February to the end of February. All that stuff's going to be on. There is a MetaTrader 5 indicator package coming across, as well as hopefully, I'm sure I'm going to have to see if I can get this programmer to help me with it, but a Thinkorswim version of the SR and some of the other indicators that we have. Very, very powerful for DEX indicators. And the strategy for DEX, for the SR DEX, is going to be coming there too, with an arrow-based process for the SR Max over in DEX indicators. So DEX Trader is going to take an increase in price because of the DPC, the data processing center, and the charting system. Dex Signals is taking an increase to 197 from 147 because we're adding the SR Max to the process. I didn't want Dex. Originally, it was only going to be Dex Signals people that were senior or elite traders, but now we're going to give it to everybody in that process. So if you're already a customer, you get that crap for free. So for whatever you're paying for right now. But if you're not a Dex Signals person yet, the reason why we have to do this is because it does cost a lot more. We had to get a whole new server to run that system. Every one of our signal packs uses its own server network. And so it's expensive. And I don't know if anybody out there ever does any of it, but security, the websites, it is a pain in the ass. And the programmers and everybody else and the customer service people we're paying to come on to help us because we're expecting a lot of people now. We feel we're going to double in size here over the next 2 months because of what we're about to release with the Forex exchange stuff coming out and some of the relations we're making with some bigger companies. So if you're in by Friday, of course, if you're in from now until Friday at the lower prices, 147 and 197, you've locked in all your prices. So nothing doesn't affect you. But I'm letting you know that if you have anybody in your families or your friend, and again, I hate preaching like sell families and friends, and that's not what this is. This is not some MLM. But if you did have anybody that you were trying to get into this process, make sure you get them in now, okay? Before the weekend, happens, and start getting your training on and get started, okay? Because people are coming, and I need more senior traders, and I need more elite traders in that process. All right. So that's the bad news. The great news is, look what we've built.
Max,
At this
also,
time,
before you go, we can congratulate Chi for becoming senior. Congratulations,
yes.
Chi.
Chi, weren't you already a senior trader? Didn't I? Did you just forget that? You just. I thought you were a senior trader, but yes, congratulations, my friend. What a powerful statement, and where you've come from when we talked to you just a little while ago. I mean, it was what? How long have you been here? Only a couple of, it's 12/26/9, Lewis, MACD settings. It's only been a couple of months, several months that you've been here, a couple of months, and look at the tremendous power you have created. Did everybody see that? Can we rival? And if you're watching this, right, this is Chi's life here and his growth, right? 5-minute trades started back on 12/4. That's the 4th of December. Okay, so that's only a couple of months. Ran into his next 100 trades. Look at this. This is amazing. I'm sorry I'm flashing by your eyes. Hold on. 96%. This guy's a superstar, 5-minute trade superstar, right? Did some intraday trades, got into intraday trades, tell himself 97%. Do you understand? 97% success. And then he went live. He went live on, what is this, geez, the 19th of December. He talked to Mike and I on the phone, and he went live. And I want you to see this. Are you guys watching this? Oh, there's a loss. You're fired. There's another loss. Okay. Had a couple losses here and there. But I want you to see this. This is amazing. Went back into 5-minute trades here, to do some stuff. And again, look, he's very powerful with the 5-minute trades. Oh, there's a loss. But got in for really good. He was coming at the money with that process. Look at this. Look at some of these numbers. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You rock. Now let me show you something. And I'm sorry, Chi. I don't like telling everybody your business in here, but watch this. $1,313. Right?
I'll take care
of it. This is
of
doing one contract. This is 1 year, or this is one contract at a time.
Wow.
One contract at a time. I'll remove that.
Great job, Chi. I'm
very proud of you. You have worked very hard to get where you got. And congratulations. That is and you took almost a whole month off. I mean, come on, you were gone from the 20th of I mean, here, let me take you back over this. Okay. Yeah, everybody's like, if anybody says, right, yeah, we were sending out the dogs with like bourbon with them and stuff. Okay. Look, this is the 31st to the 11th. So you took like 20 days off, my man. And even before that, you took like another 10 days off prior to that. Look, 10 days for Christmas and the holidays. And then you came back in and Trump pissed you off a few times. And you're like, I'm out of here. And then you came back in one day. Look at this. In one day, came back, started trading. Are you guys really watching this? I mean, this has got to excite you. If you're brand new and you're watching this, $285 in a day. Now, come on. Are you kidding me? Build up your account balance, get it to where you're getting to, now you can almost start going to a second trade per if you got your account balance off. If you drained it and you're still doing a chip and a chair, Chi, then you want to make sure that you get your balance up so you can make that second, get it up to $1,600 in there, and get your second contract in there. Because once you incrementally crawl, folks, if you're watching this, right, if you start out with $800, okay, I'm not saying this is what you have to go do. If you start out with $800 within the process and you're only trading 10% of your account balance because you're risking a certain amount to get to it, right? Your trade that you're going to get into is going to be about $80, right? So at every level, you're only going to do one contract at a time. So at every level, so at 1,600, you want to have 2 contracts. And at 2,400, you want to have 3 contracts, right? Now, every time that you advance up one, this is going to kill you. This is going to kill it. You're going to get to the next level faster and faster. If it takes you how many trades? 40 trades to get to 800 doing it this way, right? And this takes you 20 trades. And this takes you only like what? 12 trades, 13 trades. And then you're at 10, then you're at 5, then you're 2, and then you're doing 10 contracts at a time, making $200. And every 4 trades, you can raise up another contract at that point. It's crazy. But that's the incremental crawl. That's something Mike committed to and a lot of other people committed to. All right. So if you're watching this, for all those people that are watching this after the fact, I want to thank you for your time. Because it's something that's very important and near and dear to all of us, that we sit down and take the time to listen to us talk about the process. And of course, as always, I want you to trade well, okay? And this statement that we have of trading well is never about just winning or losing. It is really about the spirit of what our company is, all right? Everybody that's watching this after the fact, thank you again. Mike, thanks a lot for hanging out. Everybody else in the room, stick around. I know there's going to be a lot of questions tonight, and we'll get those answered. Mike, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm Max, and this is Dex.